Tonight on KGW News, scammers wipe out a Washington man's nest egg.
The fact that banks did not flag this is insane to me.
Plus, the search for answers tonight after someone threw a tire iron at a 13-year-old in this southeast Portland neighborhood.
He's fighting for his life at Dornbecker's. He is still not woken up.
Then new tonight, could we see another nurses' strike? What thousands of staff at OHSU are now asking for.
And a class trip ends with a night on the airport floor.
Only that one day the kids will look back on this and laugh.
The Portland students stuck halfway across the country in the middle of a travel meltdown.
And we begin tonight with a Portland teenager fighting to survive. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We want to warn you, some of the details here are disturbing as the 13-year-old was hit in the head with a tire iron. Alma McCarty talked to a family spokesperson who told her right now they are praying he recovers and hoping for answers.
13-year-old Jamari Woodard just graduated from 8th grade with plans to go to Franklin High School. But this is the teen now hospitalized and unable to breathe on his own following a horrific incident Saturday.
At the request of Clackamas County deputies who were at a nearby hospital with the 13-year-old, Portland police responded to this area on Southeast Foster Road. They began interviewing witnesses and collecting information about this case, which remains an active investigation.
Officers believe he was struck with a tire iron thrown into a moving car.
He was rushed to Kaiser, Sunnyside. They performed a procedure to take the tire iron out of his skull and then flew him immediately to Dornbecker's.
Michelle Bart is the spokesperson for the family.
They're numb. There's so many angles to this. But priority number one is making sure that their son comes home. I'm not going to speculate on the person who has done this. We don't know if it was intentional. We don't know if it was accidental.
Bart says friends, family, and loved ones are keeping a close eye on Jamari's condition, praying for the best outcomes and hoping anyone with information comes forward.
As of Wednesday night, officers say that no one has been arrested, nor has any suspect information been released. They are limiting what they are sharing because they believe sharing too much could compromise the investigation. In Southeast Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a grand jury has cleared the officers who shot and killed a man during a pursuit earlier this year of any wrongdoing. 2 Portland police officers and 1 Clackamas County Sheriff's deputy shot Jack Watson after investigators say Watson shot at them first through the windshield of his car. Watson was wanted at the time, accused of murdering a man in the back of the Fantasyland adult store on Foster Road. In Washington County, officials have approved a plan to switch ambulance providers starting August 1st. The county swapping out Hillsborough-based Metro West in favor of American Medical Response, or AMR, which currently services Multnomah County. Now, AMR has been criticized for response times in Portland, but Washington County says they're going to be hiring Metro West workers, and the county does not have the same requirement of 2 paramedics per ambulance like Multnomah County, instead allowing a paramedic to be paired with an EMT. Metro West will provide non-emergency transport instead. And Oregon's new Secretary of State will be Lavon Griffin-Valade. Griffin-Valade spent 16 years as an auditor for both Multnomah County and then the city of Portland starting back in 1998. Today, Governor Tina Kotek called her the right person right now to help Oregonians regain trust in their government.
I know Lavon Griffin-Valade first and foremost from her experience holding government leaders accountable, her ethical judgment, and her reputation as a leader with a steady hand who rises above politics.
Griffin-Valade will be sworn in on Friday and is set to serve through the 2024 election. She replaces Shimea Fagan, who resigned after admitting to moonlighting as a consultant for a cannabis company. New at 11, travel delays have been cascading across the country. It turns out a group of Portland students have been caught up in some of that chaos. Severe weather shortages, staffing shortages, even wildfire smoke, there's a lot here, have led to hundreds of flight cancellations. We checked in at PDX today, and while there wasn't a big impact for travelers headed out, Some of them trying to come home have really felt the pain. Catherine Cook is in the newsroom. Catherine, you've got the story of some young local flyers who made the most of a not so great end of their trip.
Just awful, David. A crew with our sister station in Houston found this group of 51 students and chaperones stuck at Bush Airport. Their flight was canceled yesterday and they had to spend the night in the terminal. Thankfully, they found kindness from a stranger who went above and beyond to help them.
Only that one day the kids will look back on this and laugh.
Travel delays are never easy, but try being stuck with a group of 50 kids.
They're middle school students who took Spanish and they got to go on this trip for fun.
After wrapping up a class trip in Panama, the students from Southeast Portland got delayed for hours in Houston and were left sleeping on the cold airport floor.
It puts a tear in your eye to have someone who cares so much who didn't need to.
But it wasn't a complete disaster.
My first reaction is to get them something to eat, to get them something to drink, because I know they're tired, they're away from home, from their family and friends.
The students found a guardian angel in Bridget Mitchell, an airport employee.
These are kids, and I was just so touched by it.
Their prayers were answered Wednesday afternoon when the class learned they were heading home.
We don't have a hotel tonight, and we're going to Portland.
Wow, God bless Bridget. We need more people like her. The group should have just arrived back at PDX. Hopefully they had a smooth flight. And these delays are happening just ahead of what's expected to be the busiest travel weekend of the summer. David.
What a trip and what a story. Thank you, Catherine. Let's get to a historic ruling against an organization that clears homeless campsites in Portland. It's Rapid Response BioClean. It's been found liable for throwing away a homeless woman's personal belongings during a sweep. The ruling found the team wrongly put her belongings in a dumpster instead of what they are required to do, which is store them for 30 days regardless of their condition. Rapid Response denies that claim, but now owes about $400 in damages. They had no comment when we reached out today.
And it sets an important precedent that under Oregon law, everybody's property is valued.
You lose your tent, everything. They pack it up, sweep it up.
According to data from the city, Portland's camp removal crews have cleared or removed some 4,000 sites in just the last year. Tonight, federal prosecutors are making progress holding people accountable for selling fentanyl that leads to deadly overdoses. An alleged drug trafficker in Portland was just arrested. This was the evidence police confiscated. It includes more than 30,000 counterfeit oxy pills, they say, along with several pounds of heroin. Investigators say they believe the suspect, Efrain Diaz Rangel, previously sold counterfeit oxy that contained fentanyl and led to the overdose of a Portland man in April. He now faces federal charges. Meanwhile, another dealer was sentenced just today for selling counterfeit pills that led to the overdose death of a 25-year-old Hillsborough man in 2021. David Weaver from Portland was sentenced to 12.5 years in prison. Investigators were also able to convict the next person up the distribution chain who brought the drugs into Oregon. And coming up tomorrow night on KGW News at 11, a new and troubling strand to that fentanyl story. A 22-year-old from Salem on a family vacation to Mexico, a cruise, who walked into a pharmacy and bought what he thought was oxy. Here's a preview of Tristan's story.
Yes, he made the choice that day to walk in. Yes, and he made a stupid choice, but he did not deserve to die.
Because as a toxicology report later showed, the pill or pills Tristan had taken were fentanyl. Now his family is raising the alarm about counterfeit prescription pills from Mexican pharmacies. It turns out it is not just one pharmacy or even one city. We hope you'll join us and share this as widely as possible to get the word out and to help save others. That is Tristan's story tomorrow at 11, only here on KGW. New tonight, local nurses hit the picket lines again today, but this was not an official strike, at least not yet. This time, the nurses union is representing staff at OHSU. They say they have been in contract negotiations for 6 months now. They're asking the hospital to invest more in nurse retention and recruitment, saying they're seeing too much turnover and too little staff.
They don't feel like they can provide a good level of care for their patients because there just aren't enough people. and that's really frustrating.
The union says an increase in pay is crucial to keeping experienced nurses. The nurses' contracts at OHSU's main campus and Hillsborough campus expire on Friday. In a statement, OHSU said their bargaining team looks forward to continuing thoughtful and productive negotiations. They have 4 more sessions scheduled for next month.